I am watching this one closely this week. It is a bit choppy, but Aussie New Zealand is playing out as we planned. We just need to have a little bit more patience looking for the setup to continue on the buy scenario. That is Aussie New Zealand. Hi guys, welcome to this VIX video, and we have our shortlist as always. We're going to look at what the market has in store for us this week, do a little forecast, and welcome to another weekend of the markets. Here's our news calendar for the week. Here's our shortlist. On the side, as expected, it is the same basically as last week, which is unusual, but not really a surprise because this is January and a slow start to the week. Let's get going and begin with the calendar. What is on the agenda for this week? We always use the calendar, as you know, as a kind of gauge for where we're at, what is likely to inject some volatility in the market. So here we are. We have interesting week. This week, Monday, we have WEF, World Economic Forum meetings. On Tuesday, we have some pound news, CAD, CPI news there. We have dollar, pound again speech. Wednesday, again, WF meetings, some dollar news, a speech on the euro. Thursday, Aussie news, WF meetings again, and then dollar news again, and then euro speech again. And on Friday, pound, WF meeting again, and then euro speech again, and some CAD news and minor dollar news. What can we glean from this list? Well, the fact that, of course, WF meetings, unusual for meetings to run the whole week. Don't be surprised if you do see some kind of, well, unexpected surprises. These meetings sometimes, there's bits of news or leaks or releases that come out that we don't expect because of somebody saying something or just something unexpected, basically. So really want to watch out for that, especially with January, slow January, in case it springs up a surprise. And of course, we've got CAD, we've got dollar, and we've got euro, all featuring throughout the week. We'll watch out for that. We do have those pairs this week. And yeah, let's see how we can fit this bits of news with our setups. And these news will serve as timing points for you to help with the setups. As always, begin with the dollar. Keep an eye out on the calendar every day that you are trading. Okay, dollar once again is a similar situation to last week. I don't want to go over it again if you've already seen it, but just as a quick reminder, we are in what looks like a downtrend at the moment. On the weekly, however, we're inside this range of choppiness on the higher time frame. So dollar gives us a gauge, dollar index gives us a reading overall, dollar still being the dominant currency, and then we can look to the dollar pairs for more clarity on what's going on and direction, of course, as well. So the downtrend still seems to be the prevalent one, and we may have a continuation. We have our level there. Let's look on the daily. It's just choppiness, and let's see if we get that reversal on this level to come to the downside and continue downwards. If that's going to be the case, then we have our we have some targets here. We have a level over here, and then we have this low down here. Now, of course, we want to see that reversal happen, and then the market show us it wants to go to the downside, and if not, then the invalidation would be at the high here, and that will turn the market into a buy scenario on the dollar. Moving on to euro dollar, similar situation, but in reverse, the opposite. It's a more of a buyer's market, it seems, for now, until we turn around. And of course, we've got that choppiness in the euro dollar as well. And once again, there's two scenarios we are looking at here. If the dollar is going to be weak, then we're looking for a strong euro, which would be this scenario. And then the opposite would be this scenario breaking to the upside and moving lower. However, no rush, no point to predict. We're just anticipating, we're just preparing, and it's a kind of very flexible forecast, you could say. We'll see how it actually pans out, how the market market reacts. For now, it is just collecting orders, ranging, chopping, whichever terminology you want to use, and then we want to see a clear direction being set. CAD yen, another one we looked at last week, and we were looking at the sell idea, break low and continue. That did not happen. We have moved gradually higher, still quite choppy. We have created new higher high, so no reason here to think of a sell until we have a structure broken. The last structure is here, this low to the left. So we're going to mark that here. I'm going to look for the break of that structure and then continue to the downside if we break it. And if we don't, then we've got our invalidation point here, which is the last major high to the left. And if we break that, then the buy scenario would be more favorable. Again, staying flexible. We're moving higher slowly, but don't want to be taking any trades at the moment, or at least not for me, because as you can see, we broke to the downside on a higher time frame. So this confusion between is it a buy, is it a sell? This time frame is showing that, and then this other time frame is showing another thing. And if it's not showing us some clarity, if it's not giving us clear price action and momentum and the patterns of the candles, that's not what I was looking for, then it's just a no-go zone. It's not the trading environment, and you don't want to be trading when it is not a high probability environment. So we wait for the environment to come to us and the market to do its thing, and we just allow it, just let it, and it will eventually turn into a flow. It's just a matter of not if, but when. That's CAD yen. We'll wait for that. We do have CAD news this week, as we saw on the calendar. Might be a wise thing to do to wait for that. Okay, in the meantime, Euro yen, another pair looked at for the downside. That did not happen. We slowly continued higher, and therefore nothing has really happened here. We wanted to see this occur, the move to the upside, and then the breakdown. That is developing. However, it has not yet finished. Because of that, that's not the environment. Still, wait, still is January as expected. Nothing wrong here. No itchy fingers here, no impatience, waiting for the market to do its thing. So again, last low here, as expected, or as prepared, I should say. Last low here, we can just delete that. Here's our zone. We're looking for a swing, breakdown to the downside, pull back, getting a better price, and then heading lower. And we've got our targets here. See, the next obvious low would be down here, and then these lows. So that would be the scenario, unless we hit, of course, higher than this swing high, and that would be the invalidation, meaning we're looking for higher prices beyond this point, and that point is the 162 level. Guys, if you like this video, do subscribe. We're doing this every week with updates, and click on the bell notification so that you receive this in real time with the market's movement. So we follow along together, and then look for the high probability scenarios. Okay, that's our plan on Euro Yen. Let's wait for that. You may have heard me say before, the daily picture, the daily time frame is my favorite to get a reading before actually entering on the lower time frames. And so far, if we don't have that reading, we don't have that swing, we don't have that breakdown here, then there's just no interest in it. It's just not something to look at. There's no point getting stuck in something that we are, in these muddy waters where we're not quite sure what's going on. So we wait for that. That's Euro Yen. Euro CAD, another interesting one. Waiting patiently for. It is ranging. It is not doing anything interesting. We have this big range, these unclear candles, very, very choppy. It is the beginning of the year, and the expectation, or I should say the forecast, the idea we had is the break to the upside out of this range to the highs. That did not happen, or break to the lows. Now, we have got Euro news this week. We have CAD news this week. This may be a pair that could react, so to speak, to that news, or I should say the news may begin driving prices in a certain direction, give it a bit of volatility. Either way, what we expect, or what I should say, I would prefer to see if I'm going to be interested in taking it, is the lower prices, of course. Always want lower prices when we're buying. However, if it does the opposite, breaks to the upside with strong momentum candles, continues to the upside, we have the daily picture, and we get a swing in the market, we get something, the market come down and give us lower prices, then maybe we'll look for that. However, the ideal scenario would be this, a collapse lower, and then we head down. There's also a bit of a, what do we see? I guess a bit of a trend line here. Want to see that broken, want to see this low broken. Let's just zoom in. Here we are. We've got these lows created. So here's that trend line. And this low to be broken would be definitely something to watch for. Now you could say that if we break to the downside, we may be able to take a sell. However, because of the overall bias, which is buying, don't really be selling in a buyer's market. And therefore, what I really would prefer, really want to see is this area here, drop into it and then move higher. However, of course, you have to be flexible. Keep in mind that we may see a much further drop down. So this kind of scenario. Again, waiting and seeing patiently what is actually going to happen. Not interested in this environment. Don't want to be getting involved in this very, very messy, unpredictable price action, and it's just not something you want to get stuck in. You're really taking a risk, and you are exposing yourself and leaving a trade running longer, which means you are not able to use that for really productive trades, really high quality ones, I should say. All right, that is the idea on Euro CAD. And we've got that scenario prepared for that. Okay, next one. This one's the interesting one. Again, same as last week. We're preparing, we're waiting, and this is the market is really squeezing the patience out of traders here. And the reason is because it looks like it is just when it looks like it is ready or looking to continue in its move. You can see this big bullish candle just as it's about to do that. What does it do? It does not continue higher. It just runs lower and gets stuck inside this range. We were looking for a reversal of this area, and that is just it's happened, but it's not happened because we wanted to see a break to the upside. Let's look on the 4-hour. Want to see that break to the upside, pulling back right here, something like this, pulling back to a better price and then continuing. Looking on the weekly, this is the idea. We were looking at this daily reversal, which is the, or what is this pattern called? If you know, this is a piercing line bullish. So this is the confirmation candle. And as you can see, that big bullish engulfing was a confirmation candle with the piercing line through halfway, which is this orange mark, halfway of the previous bearish candle. A few days later, we're still in this range. Really squeezing the impatience out of traders here. Let's see where it plays out. We're still going to wait, still going to be holding fire until we have our idea plan happen. If it happens, of course, it may collapse. This is why Aussie New Zealand really not a favored, to say the least, pair of mine. If I was really going to be blunt, I really don't like this pair. It was really a very annoying price action, I could say. Really confuses you and does not like to play ball, does not react as other pairs do. It has its own personality, as you may have already gotten used to some charts. You can see that some pairs have specific personality specific ways they move, and Aussie New Zealand is how can I describe it? Kind of all over the place, really, which is what makes it very difficult to trade. I would say much more tricky, a lot trickier than others. Nevertheless, this setup, this whole scenario, this whole move higher, retracement, looks like a buy to me. So we'll go with that. We'll go with what the market is saying at the moment. And I imagine that this will not be one that we're going to look at regularly after this move. Okay, let's move on now. We've got gold. Why are we looking at gold? Well, gold is another one that is unpredictable because of the lack in clarity in the dollar index. Of course, gold linked to dollar, priced in dollars. And we have a choppy market here. However, I'm favoring the downside on gold. And the reason for that is because, let's zoom out, because we had these highs, this rejection wick of the new record high, and this big rejection candle, this big pin bar, which reversed off the level that was the previous high. Now that this is in place, we may see a little bit more of a continuation, or we may not. The thing about the gold scenario here is that, of course, dollar is not clear. Gold will be a similar thing. And we also have this choppiness. So we are kind of stuck within this entire kind of range. And we're not moved either higher or lower since then. What does that mean? Well, we'll really want to see clear price action, clear movement in a certain direction before, for the market to set, before deciding if we want to go along with it. We have our levels here. Here's a level, the last low. Here's the last high that was of some significance. And it'd be great, let's just delete these previous markings. It'd be great if we break through either side to then give us some more clarity. Now, let's have a look a little bit deeper, drill into the price. And we have a high here that is about to be broken. We have next high up here, and we have the ultimate high up here. Now, these are the reference points because these are the extreme highs within this lower time frame. Of course, the safer bet would be to take out this low and continue lower, but we'll see. We'll see how that pans out. We've got these lows here to the downside. Let me just show you. Here's 1, 2, and 3. If you want to call it a triple bottom that's developed. Therefore, since the market has created this kind of base, if we run through this base, then we're going to look for lower prices. Again, dollar news. We have WEF news. Those things can create volatility, could also create unpredictability, and we may still be chopping until we really have very strong daily candles in either direction and some movement, and these reference points broken. Not going to act, not going to be in a rush to do anything. Same as euro dollar. Right, let's move on to oil. And why we're looking at oil, let's zoom out once again. Here's that monthly picture. The last few months have been bearish. It looks like we will continue on that. Let's just clear it up. Continue on that bearish theme. We are, however, stuck within this bigger range, much bigger range, very big time frame. But for now, we have bearish candles to the downside and looking at lower prices. Let's zoom in on the weekly. On the weekly, very choppy behavior. Really not clear, and we do not really see what's happening. Are we going to continue? Are we going to reverse here briefly? It's just messy. Again, the start of the year, this is a difficult read. This is practice in patience, practice in discipline of really only waiting for those high probability scenarios in the trading plan. Here we are. Let's have a look at the daily picture, this choppiness. Once again, similar thing here. We have 2 reference points, one above and we've got one below here. Of course, this one, this low one, would be the best one because it's the extreme. An extreme break is what we want. So let's move that out of the way. Let's now take this low, and then the next low after that will be here. So we've got two reference points. We've got the first kind of major low, significant low, and then we got the really significant low, which is down here. Therefore, a break to the downside, continue on with the lower prices, will be favorable, and that is if and when it happens. And then we'll look to this kind of scenario. A break, pulling back. We may have some level develop here after that. If it happens, then we will go lower. If we go lower, but at least that will be what we're preparing for. Of course, the invalidation here, if we go higher than this point, then the opposite will be the case. We'll have to revalidate higher prices, pull back, and then continuing to the upside. That is the scenario on oil. Once again, daily is a more of a favored picture. As you can see, the daily is very choppy, very unclear. So leaving this one alone, I mean, there's no point to get involved, no point to place your money in risky situations, in unclear situations. That is the outlook here on crude oil, US spot oil, whichever name you give it. We have our reference points. Looking back on the weekly, let's see if we break down back through these levels and then head lower. Right. And also, as Mant mentioned, there's a bit of a channel developed here. We'll see if that continues. So far, here's a break of significant structure. Here's this weakness in the market. Don't see any push higher. Don't see any reversal happening here. So yeah, it makes sense to follow on with what the market is saying. So that's it for this week. Once again, watch out for these news. Each day you are looking at your setups, and this news may inject some volatility. Typically, as I've said before, if you've been with me, the middle of the week, Wednesday, Thursday are the real interesting days that provide a bit more information and are a bit easier to trade, I would say, going by experience. That's just my experience. And you'll be able to see a clearer picture develop. Right now, if you are trading this week, if you're not, no problem. Wait further until maybe even February. Otherwise, we'll wait for the news, and as it develops, I will keep you in the loop, and we will reassess as we go along this week. All right, guys, that's it for this week's video. That is the plan for the week. Hope this has been of use to you. If it has, please leave a comment down below. Let me know. And I'm going to really bring these videos out regularly as usual. Okay, bye for now, guys. Have a good trading week, and I will see you on the next video.